Thank you, everyone. We'll now call our second panelist on stage. Our first panelist has shaped how a whole generation of students in Eastern India learn and grow. As the Dean of Students Affairs and Rector at Bhawanipur Education Society College, he moved away from rote learning and built something more hands-on. Students group covering everything from placement training and theatre to creative writing and social service. He is a strong voice connecting colleges with the corporate world and has helped build the talent pipeline that powers Kolkata's growth. Please welcome, with a big round of applause, Professor Dilip Shah ji.
Shruti handles complex civil and corporate litigation, estate planning, real estate deals, and insolvency cases. She is serving as an independent director on the boards of public companies including Canco TN Industries and Keventer, protecting shareholder interests. Please welcome Shruti Swaika ji.
Our third panelist is a nationally recognized HR leader and career strategist. He was named among Forbes' top 30 talent leaders of India in 2023 and has also won the People's Choice HR Leader Award. He holds an advanced management credential from IIM Ahmedabad. Over his career, he has led major HR strategies at some of India's biggest names, the Tata Group, Reliance Retail and Telecom, and the RP-Sanjiv Goenka Group. After years of working out of Mumbai, he chose to bring his expertise here to lead executive transformation in Kolkata. Please welcome Subir Verma ji.
Our next panelist is Urvashi Bhura. She is Vice President Strategy and M&A at RPSG FMCG, where she leads strategy, mergers and acquisitions and new category development, working directly with the promoter across brands like Too Yumm, Dr. Vaidya's and Naturally. She graduated as a gold medalist in biotechnology before completing her MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. Prior to RPSG, she spent several years at Boston Consulting Group, working on large-scale transformation programs across infrastructure, energy, and FMCG. She also serves as a director on the boards of Nature's Basket and Herbolab India Private Limited. A national-level debater, Urvashi believes the sharpest business thinking starts with genuine curiosity. Please welcome Urvashi Bhura ji.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to now welcome Ambarish Khaitan ji. He is a Kolkata-based business leader and insurance professional with over 18 years of experience in direct insurance and reinsurance broking. As Executive Director of Salasar Services, he has helped build the company into Eastern India's largest insurance broker with pan-India presence across 19 cities, 600 plus employees, 1200 crore rupee premium handled and 170 crore rupee revenues. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a warm welcome to Ambarish Khaitan ji.
Our sixth panelist is a veteran corporate banker who has seamlessly transitioned into the frontier of financial technology. An alumnus of IIM Bangalore and a qualified chartered accountant, he spent over 15 years leading corporate and institutional banking divisions for global powerhouses like Citi, HSBC and Deutsche Bank, managing structured trade finance and supply chain risk. Choosing to anchor his career in Kolkata despite global opportunities, he now serves as an executive director and head of enterprise platforms and structured trade finance at India's leading fintech major, CredAble. Please welcome Yogesh Patwari ji.
Thank you everyone for being on the panel. I will straight away ask, giving a context that a lot of people who are on this panel have actually worked outside Bengal, come back to Bengal, chosen consciously to stay back in Bengal. Like Yogesh is my batchmate, same Xavier's year 2006. When I tell people outside Bengal that I am based in Kolkata, what do they say?
Can you please come again?
When I tell people outside Bengal that I am working out of Calcutta, Bengal, what do they say? And what do I tell them?
Well, what you tell them is, of course, your choice. But I'm sure that they must be telling you, my God.
No, it is about you. When
Me?
you tell people that I am working out of...
Okay, got it. Well, most of the time they tell me that I think that you should better have been here, because that's what my son tells me. He works outside Bengal, and that's what he tells me. And I tell him that I think I would rather be in a place where much needs to be done than to be in a place where much has already been done.
Okay, Shruti ma'am.
Same question.
Same. This is a very quick...
True.
I
So they ask why are you in Calcutta? But I agree. The Calcutta actually loses work to other cities. Why should we not be able to have professionals who can service the city itself, the state itself? In fact, Eastern India. So.
Subir sir.
So they say क्यों गए?
हाँ.
क्यों फंस गया वहाँ पे? तो मैं बोलता हूँ you have to experience Kolkata by working in Kolkata. Your competency always increases.
Urvashi.
Thanks. They tell me, doesn't the city slow you down? Because that's what it's supposed to be doing. But I tell them, absolutely not. It's where my ambitions come to compound themselves slowly, quietly, without the noise.
Okay.
Answer is different. When I meet people telling me I'm from Kolkata, I suddenly realize that financial businesses are still being built in Kolkata. And I tell them that's the reason competitors don't enter Kolkata, and I have the opportunity to go out of Kolkata.
Yogesh.
So I think there are two very different reactions, right? So people who really know me never actually ask this question because they know why I am in Calcutta and why I chose to come back to Calcutta. And I think others do wonder, and they, often the question is, how long are you going to continue? When are you thinking of moving out again? And if I tell them, maybe there will be a time when you will want to come to Calcutta. And, probably we are close to that time.
Perfect. Very good. So, first segment, we move into the first segment about personal journeys. So, sir, Dilip sir, you are today the Dean of Student Affairs, Rector at one of the largest colleges in East India, thousands of students, multiple programs. Like this is, one of those, so many that would have happened. Full ecosystem of student collectives, placement cells. Now, alternatively, you could have chosen your professional career, arbitration and stuff. So what drew you to institutional building?
Quite frankly, I was on the advisory board of SEBI. I was on the advisory board of National Stock Exchange. I was doing arbitration, reconciliation, so many other things, as you know. And I continued doing that even after I became the dean here. And I got so much involved in my work over here that I don't even know when I stopped doing all that. It's like that. It's been a very smooth, automatic selection of the work that I did. And I never looked at what my earnings are compromised or not compromised. It just happened. And then I have not looked back after that.
Okay. Shruti ji, 12 years at Fox Mandal, one of the storied law firms, rising to partner. And one day you said, I'm going to start Swaika Company. You would have some internal conversation that, this is one decision that I am taking. Is it the right one? And what was that inflection point where you said, theek hai, from FNM, I'm moving to Swaika Company and I'm perfectly at peace with that decision?
It was definitely a very long conversation with myself, because with Fox and Mandal, I had the privilege of working in various teams, various verticals, and I had been a partner for a few years. But at some point, you start feeling that you want to do something more. You want to explore something more. The growth curve kind of stagnates. So I think somewhere there, I realized that if I don't do this now, it's never going to happen, because you get into a comfort zone, you never get out of it. All learning happens, all growth happens outside the comfort zone. So that's just, it was just a random decision. There was no event that took place. It's just one day you decided that you need to do this. If you don't do it now, you do never do it. And I'm very glad for it. I think it's a very different growth curve. It's a very different learning curve as an entrepreneur. No matter how much you rise the ranks in a firm, it's a very different story when you start small. So.
Okay. Subir Verma, sir, you've led HR Tata Power, Tata Com, Reliance, most of those years from Bombay. Jan 2024, you moved to Calcutta for RPSG's power business as the CHRO. Actually, I have seen a lot of people move that for growth मुझे अब बाहर जाना पड़ रहा है, Calcutta छोड़ के जाना पड़ रहा है. You've chosen to be on the reverse end of the journey. What was that internal conversation that you had with yourself that okay, I'm going back to Calcutta, no matter what?
See, Anurag, since it's a workshop, I would like to give away something to you. Why I did is there are professional reason and personal reason. I strongly believe that when you are changing a company, there are three things which are very important, which is called BRM. Your boss needs to be significantly better, your role needs to be significantly better, and money needs to be significantly better. If all three are very, very good, you should shift. If all three are not good, you should not shift. Kolkata, I came because of these reasons also, and then there are personal reasons also, like my daughter was in class 10th, so that is one time I can take that risk, otherwise I would not. So these are some reasons because of which I thought this is a good opportunity, this is a very, very good group, a large group with a lot of challenges, with a lot of company, and where you get a role where you can really make certain impact. And Bengal is a place where definitely the work culture and those things were challenging. So these are certain challenges because of which I thought this is one opportunity which I should explore.
Okay. So Yogesh, CA from one of the ranked kind of a version, MBA from IIM Bangalore, 2 qualifications that you have taken to Mumbai, Singapore, anywhere. But then you chose to stay in Calcutta, HSBC, Deutsche, now CredAble. Was staying back a conscious decision, or was it like the city does not let you go?
So it's both actually, right? So it's a conscious decision because the city doesn't let me go. And I think in the earlier panel we saw a lot of people who have spent decades outside of Calcutta and they chose to come back to Calcutta. Even here we have almost everybody who's chosen to be in Calcutta. There's a very revalidation of what I decided to do more than a decade back, almost 14 years back. But I think the decision making is pretty rational, right? It doesn't have to be emotional here. You have to strike a balance. It has to be a mix of what makes sense to you from a career perspective, plus what you want to do with your personal relationships. So for me, continuity of my personal relationship was also important. At the same time, I wanted to do things that made sense professionally. So we don't really have to compromise if we want to be that. I think that mindset needs to change. So I think as long as we independently believe that yes, I am capable, I think opportunities will follow.
Urvashi, I am Ahmedabad 2014, BCG for 3 years, and then you can choose to be in Bombay, Bangalore, anywhere, Gurgaon, internationally, but then Calcutta, RPSG. Fast forward 10 years, you are now heading strategy at RPSG's consumer business, one of the largest groups in Bengal. What did you see in this city then that others might have missed, or was it just serendipity that you came here for some reasons and found that, oh wow, growth to yahan pe bhi hota hai?
You're right, it wasn't like a grand strategic plan that I thought, yoga, and then this will happen and it will all come into place. I just, certain life happened, circumstances aligned themselves in a certain way where I found myself at a crossroad of choosing something where, a conventional path like you mentioned, from PCG, I could have done anything. Or choosing to be a part of something that genuinely felt different. Look, going back, I've been here 9 years now almost. Going back, when I look at it, the FMCG business did not exist in the way it does right now. Too Yumm was just building out. Naturally, it was just an idea. Dr. Gadeas was not part of the portfolio, we hadn't acquired it yet. And I was going to be in the rooms with the promoters where these decisions were going to be made, not like 3 years, 3 levels removed from it. What I did imagine at that time, what I didn't think of at that time is how the story. See, I have absolutely, Bombay still remains one of my most favorite cities. I would still visit every time I get an opportunity. But it is relentless. I mean, all respect to it, but it's relentless. Calcutta, I think, allows you to not only just have a serious career, but also be a human being, and not just like a machine going on and on. I think that bit is something that I hadn't expected, and it just landed, pretty well.
Ambarish ji, you're in insurance broking, one of the largest firms in East India, in a sector that is dominated by Bombay or Gurgaon. So insurance, Dekho, Probus, all of these companies are from those cities. But then when did India start seeing you as not just a regional player, but someone who's consciously chosen to operate from Calcutta as a decision and continues to build from here for the India?
Actually, we have been always thinking on that, but then there was a tipping point, where in 2000, just after COVID, just after COVID, we decided to hire some senior level employees from multinational working firm. When we hired, we had our own strategy in mind. And when we hired them into the management, not as key employees, and we integrated them in the next 4 years in our system to scale up the company. That was a tipping point where the narrative changed of, an Indian working from Calcutta can hire a group of people and integrate their system and become part of the management. So then people started joining us. The whole narrative changed since then. And people thought that it will be 2 years, 3 years, but then it's changed, and we are integrating them more and more in the system. People are getting attracted. That's how the whole thing changed for us at that point of time. The other thing is that for a few national companies, where there were multinational mandates, mandates started changing hands to even locals because of capability. We were one of them. And it's not because of relationship, it was because of your capability. The capability changed. The capability came from Bengal. Because everything originates from Bengal first. And then we spread pan-India. So that was a key strength where low cost and you get more capability on the ground from Bengal to outside Bengal. So that both aspects change the entire.
Now coming to the second segment, Professor Dilip Shah sir, you are now responsible for preparing thousands of BESC students for careers. Now, as you've seen the landscape evolving over the years, does your best talents find something in Bengal, or does it say, "Nahi, I need to go to D Shaw, Hyderabad because it pays so much, no one in Calcutta is going to pay me"? How has the narrative been changing?
Hello. Well, friends, I think quite different from what people might imagine. I think opportunities are beginning to be seen here, and I'm not just talking about the big four. We are also talking about other companies. In fact, D Shaw, yes, but there are companies in Calcutta which have offered even beyond that, and they've also recruited people from Calcutta for Calcutta placement itself. So it's wrong to believe that we don't really have opportunities over here. What I feel is actually, when we talk about resurgence, I'm just taking a detour, I'll come back to the question. When you talk about this resurgence, I think it starts from education. And that is where we have banked a lot. We've seen dividends happening. I think about 12, 13 years back, we were an institution with about 4,500 students. Today we are talking about 11,000, and then we add one more year now. So proportionate increase about 2,000 students there. We've taken over a college with about 3,000 plus students. And once again, a proportionate increase there. In the next 2 years, we look at a family of 20,000 students. And all this is happening in education in Calcutta. And it's happening within Calcutta. The act has been passed. People say that everything is very bureaucratic over here, but we got a Bhawanipur Global University Act passed by the government. So things happen. It's not that nothing happens. Maybe it was a little difficult. Now it will probably become faster and better. There is a lot of intellectual capital available in the city. You are one of them. And there are many others. And there is a lot of interest and respect for education in the city. So all this together makes education, and when education comes and when we are able to prepare the students according to the demands of industry, then industry also is gearing up, so they will find talent over here. So we need to understand and we need to fire all cylinders. Industry has to fire its own, we have to do our own, and everybody has to pick up a tinka, and dhire dhire Ashiana bhi ban jayega. Thank you.
Shruti ji, again coming to entrepreneurship as a decision, when you chose to move from F&M to Swaika and Company, was that decision also prompted by the fact that traditional law firms are very legacy driven, very bureaucratic? They would take like 2 weeks to even finalize an engagement letter, while a startup wants that quick advice on the term sheet and file the pass forms and get the money in the bank. So did you see that as an opportunity, that a agile, quick turnaround type of a firm will be able to manage the aspirations of those kind of clients as well?
I'd have to say I never thought of it as a prerequisite. I never gave it a thought prior, but I do see the benefits of it now because it is happening like that. There are benefits to a legacy firm. Yes, everything takes its time, but it's perfect. But then you take the benefits that you learned from that legacy firm and you work on a quick turnaround time. Automatically things are happening faster when it's a smaller firm. So it's more of a collateral benefit than a planned benefit. I didn't plan for it.
Okay. Subir Verma sir, you manage very large scale HR operations for Tata, Reliance, corporate hubs. From a talent acquisition perspective, do you see that, senior executives now have started seeing Calcutta seriously? From a corporate headquarter perspective, you would have a Mondelez having a branch office here and HUL having a branch office here. Would there be, in the times to come, a situation where these large corporates would have their corporate headquarters here rather than just regional sales offices?
See, you need to see this answer in two perspectives. One, who are you targeting? Are you targeting Bengalis who are outside Bengal, or you are targeting the global good talent? If you are targeting Bengali who are outside Bengal, you don't need to target. They are willing to come. Just give them same salary, same role, they are willing to come. But if you are trying to target people who are globally good talent, then two things need to change. One is the work culture. It's very, very bad perception outside Bengal, the work culture, because of the past incidences which you all know. Second is we need to sell. One very positive point about Kolkata, which I have realized in last 2 years, is that if you're working in, say, Mumbai or Bangalore, you have work as your life. But if you feel that work is a part of life and not the whole life, and you want to have work as well as your life, then Calcutta is the place. And that branding needs to be sold to people, talent outside. And that is, if we are able to sell that brand well, people are willing to come. Because seriously, I frankly feel that you get to live life in Kolkata, which is very, very difficult in a Bombay or in a Bangalore.
The city consumes you in a Bombay.
Just to add to that personal anecdote, when I moved here, it took me a month to actually come to terms with the fact that I can go out for a dinner on a weekday, I can plan a movie with my husband on a weekday. I just couldn't, I did not know. I got done in time. And he's like, are you sad about having a proper actual life? Because that's how it's considered.
So in Bombay, the life is on weekends. Here, life is every day.
Every day is life, yes, of course.
Plan for a dinner, for a nice sit-down dinner on a weekday. Because I heard it.
Okay.
So just add to what Subir said, right? So an earlier panel also spoke about talent in Calcutta and how they struggle a lot finding easy to attract people. I think and some said positive things, some said negative things. To be honest, both are true. It's not just that things are rosy. Now, what we need to understand is getting people to Calcutta may still be okay. And there is a reservation in an employee to come to Calcutta. Why is that so? Now, today, industry in Calcutta, we have to attract talent from Bombay, Bangalore, wherever. But does a company in Bombay want to hire somebody from Calcutta? That impacts mobility of an individual who wants to set up base in Calcutta. Right? So I think until that perception changes, where industries in other parts of India or the world look at Calcutta professionals with equal respect, और देखेंगे हाँ इसका वर्क कल्चर ठीक है, एटीट्यूड ठीक है, एम्बिशन ठीक है. I think this conversation will continue. So it has to start from there. People have to respect Calcutta and look at Calcutta professionals on equal footing. And then I think the problem of attracting talent in Calcutta will be solved.
So just to add to that, when you are running the show for a fintech company, which promises speed, you'll get quicker money. Does it even have a customer in Calcutta where there is enough time? I mean, would people really prefer to pay more for speed as compared to a Bangalore, Bombay? And becomes a very relevant thing for something like bill discounting or trade finance. Or, here they have enough time to call all the bankers and then, rub them to the last mile.
So I run this business for CredAble from Calcutta, but honestly I spend very little of my time in Calcutta because now again it's not demeaning anybody or questioning choices, but I think we are now well past deciding on the question whether technology makes sense for corporates or not, right? And everybody agrees that to scale globally you need efficiency, automation, you do sort of get rid of activities that are not really adding value. Where an employee is not really doing things that are repetitive, but probably doing something which is more creative, more strategic. There is a little less appreciation for this, at least for our business in Calcutta. I think in Bengal overall, but it's catching up. It's not that I think what I also observe personally is the strategic alignment will be there. So the promoters and CXO will still believe that yes, directionally this is where we want to go. But probably the same sentiment does not filter down the entire chain and organization, right? So there will be a lot of resistance to anything that we want to implement with the corporate here. But I think, as I said, things are changing, and hopefully things will change faster now.
Urvashi, one question. From an M&A lens, like you work with the promoters of RPSG, sitting on those boardrooms, you are on the board of Nature's Basket. When you compare on whatever the KPIs that you measure a potential acquisition, do you see regional specific trends on these KPIs also, and what would that be maybe?
That's an interesting question because the answer to that is evolving. And maybe a few years ago, if you would have asked that question, I would have answered it differently. But what I've noticed is that, yes, earlier, historically, there were companies that were building it out in a certain way where they would excel in maybe, let's say, regional operations or regional supply chain management. Culturally, I think where they've held back historically is spending on building a really strong brand. That is something that I'm seeing change now. Now people understand that product is product. Yeah, I can explain to the product ABC, but the brand is what you feel. Right? It's an emotional something that connects with the consumer. Look at Senko. Earlier Kaushik was here, and how that's the emotional equity they have built. I think now that perception is changing. And another mindset shift that has happened is that it doesn't matter the pin code where you're building it from, doesn't matter. It matters who you are building it for. That one mindset shift and change of gears will really put you on a different level, because you have to decide. You're not building a brand to cater to Calcutta or to cater to West Bengal. You're building a brand
To cater to, yes, absolutely.
you probably even more, you're building a brand globally, building a global. One of the mandates we worked on very recently was the mandate from Chairman was build a global consumer wellness brand. That's
Global
what he
brand.
started. He said, forget India, if you don't want to do it. If you think it's limited, don't do it. Do build a global brand, but that's where you have to start thinking from. So that's the
And then the pin code does not matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
As someone was saying, Zara's headquarters is not even in the capital of Spain.
So we actually did that. We built something that was the first port of call actually for those products was the US.
Ambarish ji, insurance broking, it is, I have seen that when I was in my last job, it is that Salasar se hi karana hai, no matter what, trust is built over the decades. And it is accumulated. But then, there's a conventional assumption, as I said, financial services means Bombay. You've chosen to build from Calcutta. Was it more difficult for you to be taken more seriously in those boardrooms outside Calcutta that yes, hey, there is this trust-based business called insurance, which we will have a service provider from Calcutta, but he is too good. We can take his services.
Yes, it was a struggle So obviously that aspect was still there, but then when you are consistent and when you over prepare and you have that discipline going on a regular basis, clients want to see that, and that started helping us to kind of penetrate into various cities. People also want to see a consistency in employees, not only yourself. So we had to build that over a period of time, and now it's working out. That consistency, that kind of in face, in kind of delivery, and everything again had to be generated from Bengal, because at the end of the day, we had to, whatever tools we were applying here, we had to just stretch it to outside the city, not doing anything more than, and whatever we are learning there, we had to get it back here. So it was, quite a cross functionality we had to do and kind of build across cities.
And again, maybe add one personal anecdote. The pin code really does not matter. In one of our valuation deals, where we were doing the valuation, the client was NL. It was based out of Europe. The asset was in India. Vari Energy Bombay was buying it. My intern was in a remote town in Bihar. I was in Calcutta. The transaction advisor was in Gurgaon. And we used to get on calls to discuss the whole term sheet and how that can go wrong. So today, maybe in a post-Google Meet and MS Teams world, the pin code does not matter, and that is a good reflection call for all of us who might see that Calcutta as an address is bad, that yes, it can really help. Coming to the third segment around careers and talent, and I will want you to be very candid about it. Dilip sir, you mentor these students so many times, Gen Alpha as we call it, or Gen Z. They want to capture everything very quickly. And sometimes life gives them a reality check. Then what do you do to close that gap?
I asked them a question and they realized that they require a time to explain. So then I said, look, now listen to me carefully and you have all the time in the world. It's like that. You've got to challenge them and they understand that, yeah, they have got to give it enough due.
Okay. Shruti ji, you've lived 3 lives. One as an employee in a large firm, then as a partner in that large firm, and now founder of your own business. If there is some young professional, a lawyer, a chartered accountant, any professional who's trying to figure out what is the right path, is it like experiment and do that A by B testing, or are there some rules of thumb that you can follow to make that decision?
I'll take away from what Sanjay ji had said in the previous panel is there's a lot of common sense involved. Don't just put anything to ChatGPT and copy paste the answer. At least read the answer. That's where I find it lacking. Even what Dilip ji said right now is there is patience. You can't get to being a knowledgeable lawyer overnight just because you finished a 5-year course. That's actually the starting point of the journey. Not that you've learned all the laws. We call it the practice of law for a reason. Even today, when I have a problem, even if I've solved similar issues in the past, we go back to the book. This is what we've seen from our seniors. Reread everything, and there's a new angle that comes out. But I think Gen Alpha, Gen Z, they want to reach the position, they reach the target before putting in the hard work. I think just take it easy, read the work, read the papers. That's it. It's not very difficult, but do it.
So you have written a book called NPA. That's not non-performing asset, but non-performing appraisal. You've led performance management across various sectors. Now there's one question, sometimes, and there are in Calcutta, there are companies which do not have a variable pay in their structure. It's just passage of time, you get that money. From there, let's say across in time, you would have implemented these performance appraisal systems. You would have faced a lot of resistance. So how did you overcome that?
So when I came to Calcutta first, so obviously one of my friend who is in media, she told me one sentence that people here, they say that ki office ai, salary pai, kajer jonno taka chai. Ye mentality hai unka. Second cheese, when I came here, I realized that you can't motivate all folks with the same stroke. You need to have a very customized approach. So initially 1 month when you come here with support from all our leadership team, I try to understand. So I realize people love here 3 things: खाना, घूमना और बोलना. बहुत पसंद है उनको. So then I thought, if you want to make any change, you need to first appreciate them what they have done, because everybody in Bengal, including I feel myself to be half Bengali, so please don't mind, they are very proud of their legacy. আমি এটা করেছি, এটা এরকম হি হয়. So they are very reluctant to change. They don't want to change. So you need to appreciate what they have done. কি ভালো করেছো, মানে খুব आप उसको ऊपर आपको चढ़ाना पड़ेगा. So you need to appreciate. That's the first A. Second, you are very focused what you want to do. So in 15 company which I manage, I am very focused, especially in companies which are in West Bengal. I was very focused what I need to do. The culture need to change. The workforce, suppose we have 10,000 workforce in Kolkata only in CSC, they need to work the way company wants. They will not work the way they want to work. So that was very, very focused. So you need to accelerate with them. You cannot leave them because you have come from outside. So there will be a lot of protest, which is a common feature, used to be a common feature in our company, that they will come बाहर थे लोग आसले चलबे ना 2 घंटा वो चिल्लाएंगे आपके सामने. But you need to take along with them. So 70% you need to identify the people and do the agenda. So first is you need to appreciate what they have done. Second is to accelerate with them. Third, if nothing works out, then you need to X them out. I mean, people, those who don't change, you need to change them. And these are certain things which probably we need to implement for any change which we want to implement there. And fortunately, and everybody has been very, very kind that we are able to transform a lot of things in the company which we are managing. So you show people the benefit. If you show people that there is a way forward and it is good for them, they are willing to change. And then you also need to push your agenda.
Urvashi, you were the one of the founding team members for the Too Yumm brand, then built a lot of Dr. Vedyas, and naturally within 360, Bengal really gets credit for all of that. And you are maybe one of those exceptional people who had strategy in a Calcutta-based system where. So now, what does it take to build a national, and now you are saying international, global consumer brand from Calcutta? Any gaps, any challenges with respect to the ecosystem, advantages?
Firstly, on the first part of the question, you're right. When I was trying to move here, I was just looking out, for opportunities to move here. I thought, या तो काम पे compromise करना पड़ेगा, or the quality of people I'm working with, or the 3 things that you mentioned. Luckily, I hit the holy trifecta. Okay?
Because she works in headquarters and she doesn't work in the field. So she can take the liberty to say.
I do visit the field. But so frankly, it has not, and I keep, as a joke also, we have a joke in the family, कि ये एक job था इसका profile के लिए and she got it. I tell everybody, there was this one job, luckily I got it. But it's only the opportunity is what you make out of it. Coming to the second part of the question, I think what it takes to build a global, now we're talking global and we switch gears, so a global brand is probably 3 things. One is, again, I may be harping on it a lot and sounding at the risk of sounding like a broken record, but one is a promoter or somebody or a board that's really willing to invest behind brand building. Again, it's an emotional connect. Today, Too Yumm is not seen as a regional brand. We are competing with Lay's, Bingo, etc., on the shelves of Chennai, on the shelves of Bombay, not just in Calcutta. We are a national brand. Nationally present. I don't think anybody looks at the pack and says, kya regional type ka brand hai, right? So I think really going behind building a nice brand. Second, which is probably in Subir's zone, but talent. And my answer to that has also evolved over the past year. A few years ago, if you would have asked me, I would have told you. In fact, we used to go back to our meetings with chairman and tell him कि sir, genuinely, issue हो रहा है, मतलब good talent or whatever. Now it tells me, don't give me that excuse. Earlier, when we were building out FMCG, attracting good quality talent, and I don't necessarily mean, like we were genuinely trying to change the culture because we were starting afresh. Now we didn't have any legacy to build on. or any legacy issues like that. So we said we will build for a startup culture. We will hire people who genuinely are interested in the opportunity. So earlier it was difficult to kind of sell it to them, and building that kind of team was a genuine problem. Of late, in the past few years, it's not at all a challenge. I have moved. There have been cases where people have moved outside. You mentioned, and I think somebody in the earlier panel also mentioned. I have actually done the opposite.
Thanks to Ankit.
No, I moved a business very recently. The herbal health and wellness business that we have, we've moved it from Bombay to Calcutta.
Oh.
Not a drop in quality, nothing, not a drop in business. Business has become better, teams have become stronger. So nothing has dropped, nothing has changed. And I think another kudos to the environment as well. You spoke of the environment, but अभी in this day and age, पहले ad क्या था? You have to कुछ radio पे jingle चला दोगे. Now I can target somebody sitting in Delhi. I can tell you 18 to 34 जिसको lipstick खरीदना पसंद है, जो weekend पे इस जगह पे खाना है उसको I think all of that sitting here, so it doesn't really matter. And the third really quick thing is again this mental switch. You have to start thinking national, global. Because the moment you do that, the way you think of supply chains is different, the way you think of talent pipeline is different, the way you think of just everything becomes different. So those, I think, are the three things for me.
Ambarish ji, coming to one sector choice, if I talk to any chartered accountant, MBA, what sector do you want to work in? They will say banking, treasury, mutual fund. But insurance and risk management as a sector is really understood to be, one of those good choices. While there are n number of MNCs here, strong Indian players like you, what is about that one thing in this sector as a career in insurance and risk management you would want people to know about? And is that perception actually finally changing? Because I see every company has got a 10 crore insurance check to be written, but ask any youngster, do you want to build a career in insurance? I don't think that will be a default choice.
I would say yes for professionals like chartered accountants, financial analysts and all. The sector has limited opportunities, but then it's evolving. Because the risks globally is changing, over a period of time. Over a period of time, the chartered accountants generally read balance sheets and analyze balance sheets. But now there is a second segment of requirement is coming where you need to reconstruct the balance sheet in terms of business interruption, where your gross profit and all has to be reconstructed. That's an area of business interruption losses, where chartered accountants and financial professionals can focus on, which is a really lag in the industry of how to evaluate that when there is a kind of a loss across various sectors. It's not only one sector, across various sectors. So yeah, that's evolving a lot, but nobody's focusing on that. We hire a lot of chartered accountants who help us do this, to kind of look at businesses, how to evaluate the risks. So this is an evolving sector pan-India basis. New risks which are emerging, like I would say cyber, parametric insurance you wouldn't have heard of. All this requires financial modeling. Modeling, and it's the way forward globally because of various risks which are emerging in terms of cyber. Cyber has now become the globally #1 risk in the world.
Yes,
first,
absolutely.
It was not suddenly after COVID, it has picked up. And suddenly in 2 years, the balance sheets are in red. So it is requires a lot of financial evaluation. It's not like, it's a cyber attack and the whole business can be destroyed. And we have seen, recently there was a attack in Tata Electronics and the whole loss has been detected because of a cyber attack because of Apple phones can't be made. So remember, the whole value chain of financial analysis is required. People don't know how to buy how much cyber, and the evaluation comes secondary. So for the whole lot of risk areas are changing over a period of time, and there we require specialized areas of chartered accountants, financial analysts who can come on board and help people find a way out to kind of model it in a way so that they understand. So yeah, so things are becoming interesting in the sector, and I think so a serious discussion is required, on the opportunity.
I can relate to it. Dhanteras of 2022, our CAJobPortal got hacked by some random guy, and he said, "Give me bitcoins. Otherwise, I will not give you access." And those thousands of databases, and you do not know what will happen to them just because there was something wrong in our security systems, and we didn't have any cyber crime. And I think those are.
To answer your question, that there are a lot of niche areas which are evolving, and not monotonous areas which were there, which will excite professionals, chartered accountants to kind of look at the sector in a very niche way.
So what did you say कि Bitcoin तो नहीं दे सकते, cash ले लो?
मैं हाथ जोड़ा, मतलब दिवाली है, and then he finally gave back the whole set and said, "Happy Diwali." So somehow it happened.
No, coming back to the question, I mean, we have a problem. I mean, we have a lot of opportunities coming from insurance organizations, general and life both. And the problem is that the students are just not convinced that they should even try out internship with an insurance company. How do we change that perception?
So those opportunities will be hardcore sales opportunities. So selling is different than insurance. So I think so if you move on to the more softer side, those opportunities would encourage them more than selling opportunities. Selling insurance is a pipeline, and people get over.
Yogesh?
So it's more of technical side and a lot of other areas of research and product variation where
Risk evaluation.
Rather than sales. Sales is not involved.
I'd like to.
Please. No, please go.
Off my topic and entirely yours. Apart from the the more technical products, it is surprising how underinsured Indians are. Even if they are insured, they're like, "Ek mediclaim policy hai, to I have got mediclaim." Because we see clients, the moment you're in a hospital, that one mediclaim is over so fast, and there's such a huge market out there that needs to be educated as to what mediclaim should actually look like and what are the insurances that you need to actually have for it to be realistic. Even in a contract, we have these boilerplate clauses of insurance, and nobody's taking a look at it. But when the day actually comes when they're being invoked, it's not helping
People
anybody.
don't know even how to read a policy properly.
Nobody is
that
reading
process.
it. Nobody is reading the subrogation rights or the shortfall clauses or anything. And there's a huge space for education in this space, in this market, not just in Eastern India, but pan-India.
So you wanted to say
kudos
something
to you.
on this?
The thing is, I learned my MBA in a National Insurance Academy specializing in insurance. So from there, I feel the academician should also introduce something on insurance to get them excited. Not on sales, but on non-sales part. They can think of a career.
No, I think it makes absolute sense, and we'll definitely be interested. We'd like to also sit down on this.
Verma sir, you wanted to say something.
So I wanted to say that सेल्स जॉब इन इंश्योरेंस और बैंकिंग को प्लेसमेंट मानना ही नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि उसके लिए कॉलेज की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है, वो मिल ही जाता है. There are so many, and the students are actually being, for the lack of good words, is being exploited. So sales job or insurance job or brokerage job in sales, in smaller company, I think the colleges should look at placement as a long-term and long-lasting relationship with the corporates and take these jobs as a very backup jobs. If nothing happens, then anyway, ये तो मिल ही जाएगा types.
Yogesh, CA, MBA, traditional banking, suddenly fintech. You would have understood fin, but how about the tech without the IIT tag? So how does BCom turn CA, MBA or that kind of a track suddenly evolve into a role where it is a lot of tech? You suddenly have APIs and all of that. How do you adjust to that terminology?
Actually, there's no adjusting, right? So the decision to move to a fintech was driven by very different criteria. But just to answer your question first, see, CAs by default or design have an analytical mind. So if you're already analyzing financial statements, so you can then analyze complex processes, structured data, and try to figure out how to make sense of it, how to make it more streamlined. And that's what we do as a tech company. We build solutions that sort of automate and make things more efficient. So I think CAs do well in our kind of environment, and fintechs and tech companies across the country now, including a lot of startups, they actually have a lot of CAs on their as part of their employee base. So I think this is not unusual. The only thing required is for somebody to be curious enough and be willing to step out of your comfort zone. I think one part of it is awareness that students or young professionals may not really know what does lie on the other side of the table. So they may be a little worried, but once they know it's using the same skills but in a different way, I think that sort of broadly takes care of itself.
My last segment on lighter moments. Dilip sir, you've seen these placement drives. Students try to land jobs, and then one fine day they get an offer and they want to walk out of it. What is that most creative excuse someone has said? Like we often say, "Dadi mar gayi, ये हो गया." I sometimes say, कितनी बार दादी मरी तुम्हारी लाइफ टाइम में? जीवन काल में 7-8 बार तो दादी को मारी देते हो.
I'll tell you about the kind of excuses. I mean, forget about placement, maybe excuses, but the best excuse that I've ever found. I mean, I'd like to share it on a lighter note. One faculty came to me that here is an answer script of a child. This is an answer script, and the boy has written A, B, C, D, E, F, G, X, Y, Z, and 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. And then there is a note that all subjects discovered by mankind are a permutation and combination of the above. So, permutation and then, and Oscar Wilde said that in exams, fools ask questions which the wise refuse to answer. Reference Oscar Wilde. So now this teacher comes to me that what kind of marks to give to him, because this paper has to be shared. So I said, "Ek kaam karo, you don't give marks, you say refer to me." You referred the paper to me. I wrote down that one of the greatest inventors has been Aryabhatta, and he discovered zero. So we have fun like this, lots of excuses, lots of fun. I mean, like the child just does not turn up on the first day, and then our placement officer calls the person. He said, "Ma'am, I was just trying whether I'm going to get a job." I didn't want to get a job. So you can't have anything worse than that.
This is superb. Shruti ma'am, when you left as a partner role and you started your own firm, I can give you my personal example. Something happened in my laptop and I was like picking up the extension to call IT, and I was like, there is no IT boss. उठाओ laptop और जाओ दुकान में ठीक कराने के लिए. Okay, so water, अरे पानी खाए, जाओ भर के लाओ. So it was that kind of moment. For you, what was that, that fun moment when you started your own firm? कि बस हो गया बहुत, टशन का जिंदगी जी लिया, ground.
It wasn't any moment. It was a very natural transition that happened. I just knew I needed to do it, so I just had a conversation with my senior, and he was like, "Yes, I think you should do it, and you have our support." And so it just happened. And I think the first day when you're sitting alone in that chamber and you suddenly don't, I think more than anything else, it was having colleagues around. Suddenly you're used to having 15 people to have lunch with or talk to, and now a tea break is not a tea break. There is no tea break, because who do you have the tea break with? Yes. And the thing is, no matter whether you're a partner or Fox Mandal, there are other partners, so there are colleagues. And now when you're the boss, the juniors are always going to be somewhat intimidated. It's never going to be the same thing. So I think that's what I miss the most, is having contemporaries really in the office. It's not the same.
Verma sir, you've written a book on job search secrets. You've coached so many people in your career. But in your personal life, has there been an interview where you said, "Gosh, how have I performed?" You just didn't like that day.
There are occasions where I have been rejected, and there are occasions where I have also rejected the company. So it happens. I mean,
it can happen, right? Just the human side of it.
You should not take it to the heart. Failures are, you have to fail. So many times it has happened. Initially, especially in the beginning of the career, it was quite common.
We often wonder, na, मैं सब आंसर राइट दे के आया फिर भी क्यों नहीं हुआ मेरा?
I'll give you a very good incident. 5 years back, so there was an interview with a very large, probably India's largest defense manufacturer. So I met everybody. I met their CHRO, I met their board of directors, I met their chairman also. And chairman said, "Have you resigned?" I said, "No, I haven't resigned." He said, no, you resign, you have to come as soon as possible. So, since I had experience, I strongly believe that unless you have a paper, you should not take action. I came back, and after that, there was a pin drop silent.
HR said, we'll get back to you.
No, he said, you have to join, offer is on your way. Everything was done. Compensation was also shared on the paper. But unless you get the letter in your hand, you should not take any action. So that's a very interesting and real incident which happened with me.
Urvashi, you build consumer brands. If you have to build the brand Calcutta and run one-liner creative campaign, what would that be?
For Calcutta? I'll think of it two ways. One is I'd probably say the most underrated XYZ whatever brand. Underrated because that's what you think of a brand when it's just at the cusp of breaking through. The other fun campaign could be come have a bite of this mishti. Mishti because it looks simple from the outside, but when you bite into it, there's about like 40 layers of complexity and character into it. So I think that's what it takes to the consumer sees a simple product, but there's just so much more that has gone behind it. It's like a sweet.
Ambarish ji, you talked about insurance selling. So you are in an industry where people say, "Arey insurance wala se mat milana mujhe, wo bechne ko tayar hai." So then, how have you overcome that challenge?
That's the challenge, and then the most interesting part is that in a group of people, when this conversation suddenly changes, when you have a claim, you become the most important person, to helping him out, giving free advices. So, I've seen that, when a claim situation arises, you become the most wanted person. So that's how, you kind of change it, and then people surround you, and they talk about their own industry and other things. So basically, I think so more is that, if you start speaking on the fear part, then you get more weightage, because people would like to understand what can go wrong. So I think so in insurance sales doesn't work, only fear works, and you have to build your conversations around that, number one.
Are you adequately insured? What is something?
No, not even that. You have to be very subtle. You have to be very subtle, what I have realized. The other thing is, what I feel that the other part is, this is general, but then our life insurance fellow members, they have a tough time. So nobody wants to do that. And I feel over a period of time, if the conversation is there, I think so their families will better out. So I think that narrative should also change over a period of time, because as what Shruti said, that everybody is heavily underinsured, but still they don't want to have that conversation of what do they want, And I like those conversations, and I subtly open those conversations, and people start liking it. So I think so.
What is that inner conversation that you have? कि ठीक है, मेरे पास माँ है, उसके पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, पैसा है, मेरे पास माँ है.
See, there will be several things that you do in your life which you will probably regret later, right? But I think for me, this has never been one regret. So I think this has been a conscious choice, and I'm happy everything things have worked out well.
Thank you. Last thing, quick round, one opportunity.
Just in 30 seconds, after working 2.5 years in Kolkata, my respect for people who are working in Kolkata has gone up substantially. And a lot of my friends who are outside, I tell them that anybody who has worked in Kolkata, by default you pay them 5% more, because this skill you will not get unless somebody has worked in Kolkata.
If you see the Bangalore,
so whatever we say about Kolkata, the people who have worked in Kolkata, their competency, their skill levels is far better than somebody else who has worked in other locations.
Bangalore startup ecosystem, the whole finance leaders are from Kolkata. Kolkata Marwadi CA. Head is there, number 1, number 2, number 3, everyone.
There are actually, and I did not know of this whole Kyle Madu thing. I heard of his first time in BC. I am not from here. I am from Lucknow. Did not know. Got introduced to Marwadis for the first time when I met my husband, then boyfriend, when back in Ahmedabad. Cal Madu phenomena and the community and the.
Oh my God, phenomenal.
In BCG there is a unsaid club called the Cal Madu Club. All of them get together. जैसे अहमदाबाद में होता था विम्बी and all of them used to get. There's an actual Cal Madu club. It's quite.
And they rule the world.
Guilty of being a member.
They rule the world. In fact, I had once made a video, it went viral across West Asia, Africa, because everyone is dominated by a Calcutta Marwadi CA, at least from a finance perspective. My last one-liner, one opportunity in Bengal that is completely underrated and is not being chased by anyone.
I can borrow it from Uttarakhand. It says, what does it say? I think we have the legacy and we also have the future. I mean, that is what they inherited. Today morning only I read. नहीं वो भी है. I think we have it all. It's just that we start to capitalize on it.
Shruti,
The same thing, actually, any work that people start in Calcutta, just start working, start some startup. We have way too many people running family offices instead of actually contributing to society in any form of product or service. Do something.
I feel what others are doing, if we do, we will fail. Because the larger industries, GCC, semiconductor, which I think is a bad approach to do. There are a lot of uniqueness in Kolkata or West Bengal. For example, you can have river tourism, you can have industry related to jute, you can have food processing, which is related to food. You have a lot of misties, you can have. So these are the industry which are the USP of Bengal. If we focus there, with less effort, we can have larger success than focusing on common industry where the effort is more and the result may be very, very low.
I think for me, purely looking at consumer trends, I think health and preventative wellness is a trend that you cannot miss. It is burgeoning and how, and I don't think people are building on it enough. Especially in Calcutta, where you've culturally had a heritage of really strong traditional brands being here, and consumers already believe in this. Because the first thing that you do, the first challenge that you face in this segment is convincing the consumer. Okay, some natural or something like that, some alternative therapy will work. यहाँ वो belief है, but I don't think a lot of people are building new age health and wellness preventative consumer brands. Partly the reason why we made the choice we did, and we are doing our own bit to do that with Dr. Vaidya's.
I think so. It's we have to be more having a risk-taking culture. We have to be more outgoing and take risks which will evaluate risks which will help us grow our business and also teach people to do that.
Yogesh, final answer.
I think this is true across India, but more so for Bengal, because now hopefully we'll see a lot of big ticket investment coming in. So digitizing supply chain is very important. Also aligned with what and I think unlocking liquidity across the same. That I personally think will really sort of unlock a lot of value.
Okay, thank you everyone for the panel discussion. We now call it a close. Can I also take the liberty to help my two daughters overcome stage fright and invite my mother along with them for giving the thing? Because they're in class 2 and 8, the only reason I brought them was, okay, they should come to stage. And please, Manana sir.
But Anurag, I think your daughter will be a better speaker than you. You just ask her to speak. You are underestimating her.
That is why, in fact, I'm trying.
He's trying to coach me first.
He's trying.
And then our daughter.
No, I have a complaint. You said everybody
family-run
except
business.
Anurag. Huh? So you are also underestimating him.
So this is Kanak. She's the CHRO of CAJobPortal, our fun officer. This is Dhwani. This is, she's in class 8. And two are very contrasting characters, studious, academic, and she's all fun in life. Mandana sir, yeah, please start. Sir, I think all of you can come so that in that same fashion as last time. Yeah.
Yeah.
The last panel also I said about the brilliance of the panelists. Even in this panel also, I'm equally impressed. But I think, we will not do justice to the event if we don't sing a song for Anurag Singal, who has brilliantly handled this event and come out with such a lovely knowledge session today. Big round of applause for you, Anurag.